Got another Sony cassette deck in. This one's a TCK444ES Mark II. And this one has a problem with the cassette holder. And it looks like somebody's been into this one before and tried to fix it and gave up. And then sold it on eBay. At least I think it came from eBay. Guy didn't tell me, but it's kind of beat up. Here's a Sony TCK444ES2 3-head Dolby B&C cassette deck, and I'm told it doesn't function, so let's plug it in and see what it does, if anything. Power goes on. It won't eject. Okay. That part's working. It's moving the tape. Let's pull the top off it and see why it won't eject. Here's the mechanism on this one. Check this one out. So this one uses the brushless motor for the capstan motor right here. So it's basically a small 3-phase motor, servo motor. The same type of motor you would find on a video recorder, head drum, and capstan motor for a video recorder. Sony hasn't gone down the road that, say, JVC did, like my JVC 1010, which uses a direct drive motor. Sony still use a belt drive on this, and they use our reel drive motor over here to drive the reels. A solenoid is used over here, a plunger down, it's down here somewhere where you can see it. There's a solenoid right down there, right below this piece, that lifts and lowers the head. And oh, I was able to pop it open. So why is it sticking? Yes, it's certainly sticking there. Let's see why. Nothing's happening, but now it opens. Either that or the cassette door is broken. That's a possibility too, that the cassette door is broken. And if that's the case, we may have a problem. I think that's what's wrong here. Yeah, okay. This is not, I was hoping this was going to be an easy fix, but take a look. This is where our problem is on this one. You notice that the cassette door is sticking out from the bottom. If I press it in, now it'll open. The door is broken, it looks like. Is it just popped apart or is it broken? Let's see if we can fix this thing. Because the door is not supposed to drop all the way open like that. Not good, not good. I wonder if it's just come apart. Oh, there's a spring that's off on here I can see for starters. I might be able to put this thing back together. Let's just remove the front bezel and get at the mechanism. I see a spring that's come apart. There's a spring right here, and that's not supposed to be there. I'm sure this is another fine piece of equipment that someone's bought off of eBay. all this vintage stuff tends to show up on eBay that people, you know, they find in various places like recycle centers, and turn around and sell them for a quick buck to people that the screws are already stripped here before I get to them. Somebody's been into this. Like that screw and the one on the other side is already stripped. Let's see if I can get that screw out with a regular screwdriver. Okay. The bezel off. Spring is pretty trashed. This bracket seems to be loose too. So this bracket looks to be pretty rough shape. That spring is supposed to be around here, but it's all twisted. I have to remove this whole mechanism, see if I can rework this. Looks like somebody's been into here before trying to make it work. But as it sits now, it's not going to hold the cassette in place. Right? If I put a cassette in here, for example, the cassette is not being held all the way back. So it's not going to line up with the heads properly. But this door should not open as far as it is. There is a catch over here. This is supposed to ride in this groove to stop the door from opening anymore, but it's not. This is the problem when you buy things off of eBay. You don't know what shape they're in. And a lot of times they're not in very good shape. The spring is supposed to be wound around here, I believe. Grab my pick. I gotta find my other pick. I dropped it yesterday. Well, I shouldn't say I dropped it. It disappeared. It was on my bench, and I turned around and it was gone. So it must have fallen down behind the bench somewhere. The spring down here is in pretty rough shape, but I think it's supposed to come out from the bottom. There's a lever in here that looks like it's been bent. Looks like that's been twisted. The spring is nicely bent. Okay, I think this is supposed to come out from wrap around this side. I'm not mistaken. It's not supposed to be bent like this, but the spring itself is supposed to clip onto here, push the door open, and it also pushes it over this way at the same time to hold it in place, so that when it opens, it only opens so far. Try to take this bracket off so I can lift the whole front loading loading tray out. There should be a screw in here that holds this in place. I think there's a couple of screws, one screw at least, that holds the bracket in place. It should be right in here. Okay, so this spring, as you can see, it's pretty much toast. I can try and straighten this thing to resemble kind of what it looked like before. I might be able to work some magic on this thing, because good luck trying to get a spring for an old tape deck like this. Not going to happen. Another thing that's wrong here is this plastic is broken. There used to be a little pin that stuck out here of plastic, you can see it, where it's been sheared off, and that was used to stop so when the door flipped open, that would engage over here. As you can see, as it sits now, it's too short. On the right side over here, this plastic extension, the little pin, would fit into the slot here, and that's what stopped the door from opening too wide. That piece is broken. I may be able to thread a small screw into there so that it'll pick up this holder here and stop it. It's about my only hope that I've got to try and make this thing work, because again, finding one of these cassette baskets is going to be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's just not going to happen. At least I have no idea where to get the part for it. Right? I'm not one of these miracle workers that will. I'm not going to troll eBay looking for a cassette basket for something like this, because even if I could find one, or if anybody could find one, seller's not going to give the part away, right? I mean, this part, when it was available from Sony, was probably $30 or $40 for the part. But guaranteed now, a vintage one will go for at least that, if not more. And then they'll clip you $50 or $60 freight, because that's what these eBay sellers do. They nail you on the freight. But realistically, I need a spring and I need a cassette holder to fix this thing. I'm going to try to make my own. See if I can make this work. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to try drilling a small little hole using a very, very fine precision screwdriver. This is a 0.9 millimeter screwdriver. I'm going to try and drill a little hole in here and see if I can thread a small screw in that will hold this in place. As you can see, I'm making a little bit of progress here. Try a smaller, tiny little Phillips. That might give me a little bit more drilling ability. And what I'll I'll do is I'm going to heat the end of the screwdriver up with a lighter, just so that it'll penetrate the plastic a little better. Get it hot, and that should go through here a little bit better. See how far we're through now. Okay, that's we're making it in about that far. That might be good enough to put this small screw in through here. We'll just use this small screwdriver to turn the screw in. Get a little bit bigger one than that. Now, let's see when this is fitting on here, whether it's going to be long enough to latch this in place. This is placed in. This is placed in like that, and the other brackets on the other side. Go. It'll stop it. Cool. Excellent. That'll stop it right like that. And that's about the right length too. Okay. I think we may be in business here. And that should be fairly secure because the hole I drilled is about the right depth for that screw. Now I just have to see if I can make this spring work. The way that the spring winds around here, it's going to use this to push the door open. So it basically goes on to this bracket, and one side sits into this groove here, and the other side presses up against the door to push the door open. It's going to have to bend this a little more, a little bit back, because again it is out of shape. So let's try and put this piece of crap together. This spring goes on like this, and this side hooks in over top of here, like that. And then this goes in like that. And then this side, I put this piece back in over here, and I can get that screw in place. I think there's a second screw that's missing. I believe there's another screw that goes into the bottom of this piece to hold it in place down there. Or maybe not. No, it just sits over a pin. Just sits over a pin. Okay, so that's in place. Now if I take this spring, hook it in where it's supposed to go in here. That slot, and pull the other side up, and it kicks into there like that. There's no dampening on this thing, but at least it won't fly apart. Right now the cassette holder is in place, and it'll hold the cassette in place. I'm going to put the cover back on here. That snaps in place like that. Woohoo! Maybe this might actually work. I mean, it's not going to be perfect because the basket itself is broken. But at least that that spring, that little screw that I put on there, is going to stop this thing from opening too far. It's going to limit how far it opens, which is what is required. Put the front face back on. Okay. Let's see how this will attach. Oops, not all the way snapped in there. Now it is. There. Wow, it's a lot better than it was, that's for sure. Now we can drop a tape in. Can't play this, but we can try it. See what it does. Power. Put this in source mode. I like this. Check this out. Bias. Calibration. Type 1 and Type 2 only. In other words, you can't do bias calibration with metal tape. Metal tape, it's preset. You don't have fine level control for your bias on metal. Just Type 1 and Type 2. Just thought I'd point that out. But let's try it out and see. So let's just try, well, first of all, let's listen to, well, let's see if it plays first of all. So I'll get my my test tape here. And close it up. Rewind works. Play works. Fast forward works. Let's check the speed. Put the 3 kilohertz tape in, and we'll put that on the frequency counter. 2.94. I hear a fair bit of flutter in there. How's that? That more flutter? There's a motor speed adjustment on here somewhere. It's going to find it. I believe this is the motor speed adjustment right here, or whatever this is. Yeah. Now, we know the wow and flutter is coming from this machine and not the machine that made the recording, because this was made, this tape was made on a direct drive, quartz lock, certified machine, which has virtually indetectable wow and flutter. We'll check the 440 hertz side out on this one. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll make a test recording on this unit and see how it records, how it performs. Now, in order to properly calibrate your bias and levels on a unit like this, you do need a tone generator. It does not have one built in, so you need a 400 and usually a 6 kilohertz or 7 kilohertz tone for your levels and bias. And basically, what you do is you record it in monitor mode. You set your levels. So you would set your level for 0 dB on the record level control on your incoming tone, and then you go into monitor mode and you adjust your bias for the high frequency sound, and you adjust your record level for the low frequency sound. Say this one does not have a generator built in. My JVC doesn't have a generator built in either. If I want to do it on my JVC, I have to use an external generator. My TCK 850 does. It has a built-in bias and tone calibration generator. And I think that any cassette deck, any 3-head cassette deck, worth being called a 3-head cassette deck with calibration controls, really needs to have that tone generator built in. But it doesn't. So, kind of useless for doing it right. Most people just do it by ear. They listen to the sound and they play around with it until they get what sounds normal to them. And but to do it right, you need to have the proper generator. Let's go to set this up to record some music here. I should kill that heater running in the background. But we'll get some music queued up and we'll make a quick recording. I'll do it in, I'll probably do this in Dolby C. And then we'll listen to it back. Okay, I got a track queued up. I'll go to record. Let this lead in for a few seconds, and we'll do a recording. I can switch over to tape, listen to the tape and the source. We'll play this back and we'll listen to the actual tape, the sound off of the tape, once I finish recording it. If we listen to the source and the tape, we can actually hear the tape's not quite as good. I guess it's okay. Levels aren't quite the same when coming back, but now I haven't demagnetized the head or anything on this yet, or even cleaned it. I'm just doing a test recording right off of this is how I got it. We'll clean the heads on this thing and demagnetize them too. See how they sound. One thing I'm going to do on this, I'm just rewinding the tape now because I finished the recording, but one thing I am going to do, look at the connections back here. These are where the input and output jacks are soldered on, and it looks like these solder connections could use a bit of attention. So let's deal with that. We'll shut it off here. Also, notice the nice green. These are nice green Nikon audio full grade caps. You pay a premium for those ones, I tell you. We're just going to tack these down. Ground. This is a weak link because when you're plugging and unplugging the plugs, they can work their way loose. So we'll tack these ones down while I've got it apart. I don't think I have to worry about connections really anywhere else on here because yeah, my amp is still on. Deal with it. That's just to kind of prevent any problems from cropping up due to those solder connections being ready to break. I'll clean the heads on this machine and then we'll demagnetize the head. Normally you don't have to demagnetize the or erase head or the record head, just the playback head. And oh, these have got a lot of wear on these heads. That's why the sound isn't very good. Take a look at the heads. I don't think we're going to get any better sound out of than this. Look at how worn these heads are. My God, they are in pretty sad shape. I'm just going to remove this cover. I can catch my fingernail on this. These heads are really worn. This is a very high mileage deck. You can see the wear from the tape. Pinch rollers look like they got a few miles on them too. That's probably why the flutter's a little bit higher than it should be. Is the rubber is really quite, especially this one. The rubber is kind of worn. But let me clean the heads and we'll demagnetize them, and then we'll just take a listen to the recording. So we'll just get the demagnetizing coil in here close to the heads. Not touch them, but just bring them in fairly close and move the demagnetizer, kind of a circular motion, and same with over by the capstans. Q-tip with isopropyl. Heads really aren't dirty. They're more worn than anything. Turn on the power and I'll clean the You could think there's a tape in here somehow. There, that's the one. Clean the pinch rollers. See, they weren't very dirty. This was been cleaned. The guy that owns it probably cleaned it. Sticks a bit, but that can be expected considering that this thing shouldn't even be working. Considering how bad that door was, this thing should not be working. Tape, okay. We'll listen to this back. I'm going to plug it right in so you guys can hear the sound right off the tape. So the unit itself is got two separate circuits. This is the record circuit and the Dolby circuit for the record side. And this is the playback side, again with its own Dolby chip. And over here, this is the servo motor speed control. So you can hear the Dolby working in the background, and I think this is probably an artifact from the worn head. So we'll make another recording, and I'll do it without Dolby so we can compare it, because when the heads get worn, you generally will notice it with the noise reduction, because the levels will be a little bit off just due to the worn head. So we'll do another recording of the same track, and we'll play it back, do it without Dolby and play it back and do a sound comparison. And for you guys that are gonna nitpick and say, oh, you should change that capacitor, there's something leaking out of it. No, there's nothing leaking out of it. It's actually glue. That's glue, that overspray of the glue that they glued this protective card. This is to shield the high voltage, because the mains voltage are right there. Right, so they put a little cardboard or whatever shield this is, I guess it's plastic. Put a little plastic shield between the mains voltage and the capacitor itself. You guys might think I'm sticking my fingers close to that. I actually am. You see, I'm tickling the dragon. I'm tickling the dragon. I'll stick my finger right on there. You don't even feel it because I'm on an isolated bench, right? But yeah, that's what that stuff is. That stuff is just glue. It's not a leaking capacitor. So delete your comments about it, because now you know. This unit's going to have separate power supplies for the record and the play circuit. So here are the regulators. There'll be a positive and negative supply for each of the circuits, I would think. I haven't looked at them, but I'm guessing. There's a positive and negative supply for the record, positive and negative supply for the playback, and this one here is probably a regulator just for the motor servo. We'll play back from the tape directly with no noise reduction. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.